All right, welcome to Cut Ups episode 7, brought to you by Maize and Blue Review. We are on michigan.rivals.com. I'm Trevor McHugh, staff writer for Maize and Blue Review, joined as always by video analyst, wizard, Steven Osentoski. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. Happy Tuesday to you. Whoops, my mic's over there.
Hey!
All sorts of shambles. Here we go. You can hear me a little better. I should just hold this up from now on. But
please don't.
Please don't. Happy Tuesday to you, Trevor. How's your Tuesday?
Good, man. Halloween was a lot of fun last night. So thank you, everybody, obviously, for allowing us to do that, take care of some trick-or-treating, some dad duties. Had a really good time. So obviously we haven't seen you guys in a while. Last week was the bye off yesterday. Toski was live last night going through some of the stuff we're going to dig into tonight. And I was joking with him. I caught his Where's Waldo segment. Mr. Stamos looking for him in the seats. That was pretty funny. So before we jump into this, college football playoff rankings did come out tonight. So Toski, real quick, gut reaction on those.
Yeah, it seems like the committee is setting a precedent with the non-conference. You look at any of the advanced metrics. The only thing that really Clemson has over Michigan is a couple, teams that are ranked in the top 25, but they're in the 20 to 25 range, right? With Wake Forest, NC State, those are really the only the ranked wins that Clemson does have compared to Michigan's dominating win over Penn State. So to me, when you're comparing all of the different aspects of Michigan versus Clemson, Michigan seems to be ahead outside of a weak non-conference. And it feels a little bit hypocritical to put Michigan to punish them that strongly, despite looking like a top 4 team. So I know at this point, it's fair to say that the rankings don't matter, that if you win out, that, that it takes care of itself, but it makes Michigan's path of, being a 1-loss non-conference championship, it looks very slim. So seems like Michigan needs to win out if they want a guaranteed spot. And it's a little bit frustrating. I'm a little frustrated by it, but again, everything's still in front of Michigan, so I won't be belly aching too much just yet. But down the line, we'll see.
Well, that's what I said, right? I knew I was going to be frustrated. I also know it doesn't matter because Michigan controls its own destiny, and here I am still frustrated. Just because, we are living in the best era ever in terms of data and information and really being able to assess these teams. And you've got a committee that is still favoring, to me, what looks like what was a team ranked when you played them, right? Which is such a huge favoritism to preseason AP rankings. And also, I don't care what Syracuse was ranked before. They weren't a good team, and Clemson barely beat them. But, they were 19 or whatever they were ranked at the time. We talked about Ohio State gets a top 5 win for beating Notre Dame, right? Stuff like that. So, again, it'll sort itself out. They do this stuff to upset us. That's why they get the ratings they get.
Right.
But bring on expansion, please. Right.
That's it.
So, All right. Obviously, we're here tonight to talk about the Michigan State game. What I'm going to address real quick that we're not going to talk about is obviously what has overshadowed the entire game, which is what happened afterwards. Right. So we have been covering it at Maize and Blue Review. We will continue to cover it because it is a developing story. However, we want to talk football. Michigan got a big win, 22 points over their rival. And that's what we're going to do tonight. So obviously we're thinking about Jamon Green dealing with his injury and everything else that's going on, but let's talk some football tonight.
Yeah, let's do it. And welcome Antoine Johnson, call him out for also showing up yesterday.
Antoine's a loyal dude, man. He's
one
of my favorites for sure.
So I am going to be covering some of the initial plays that we did yesterday. I'm going to try to go through these a little bit quicker. So I'll go through the ones that I covered last night with a little bit more speed. I'm a little bit more familiar with them, what I have to say, and then we'll get into some of the second quarter and beyond plays that I didn't get to. So we're going to be doing some speed analysis here. If you want a little bit more relaxed analysis for these first few plays, go back and watch last night. But let's dive in right away here. I like clipping kind of the first drive to get a sense of how Michigan does in the trenches on both sides. So this is one of the early plays for Michigan. It's a little read option here for Michigan State, and Michigan has this gobbled up even without the corner blitz. So with the alignment,
hey,
yes, sir. I'm not sharing my screen.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm not seeing it. So
good call out.
Hey,
that's helpful. So let's watch the slowdown version of this. You can watch this tackle for loss. So it's a little read option here. The play is dead from either the give or the keep. Peyton Thorne keeps it in this scenario. So a couple things to call out here initially is the alignment. When you have defensive back lined up over someone covered on a wide receiver out here, that generally means someone is coming. In this case, it is St. Ursula off the edge. Michigan's response to this, they're pulling to their left guard and their left tackle here. And Michigan is running a little concept of replace here on the defensive end. So the defensive end is coming off the edge here, taking the running back on this little counter action here. So he has the running back responsibility, and you're bringing down Junior Coulson as the replacement of the edge contain, and he will have any quarterback keep to the outside. So this play is shut down just from this action between Junior Coulson and Mike Morris. You add in the edge rush here out of Mike Sainristil, and everyone's dead, right? You pause right here, and if this is a give to Jalen Berger there, Mike Morris is eating his lunch. If it's a keep here, Junior Coulson, you probably like his ability to track this down, but it's a really good job from Mike Sainristil here being just the guy to push us back inside, right? Just don't let anything outside of you. If you force Peyton Thorne up the field here, then that's a win, and you force it back into the teeth of the defense here. So good job from Mike Sainer still forcing that, and there's Junior Coulson able to rally and get to the quarterback as well. I think the only criticism I have for Junior Coulson is he needs to be establishing the edge here a little bit better, right? Because you're doing this sort of replace, right, where you have Mike Morris here coming down. You'd like to see Junior Coulson maybe a little bit wider here, just to make it a little bit tougher and have a better angle when Peyton Thorne does keep and go to the outside. He's a little bit delayed on getting to that outside. You are also bringing Mike Sainristil, so that probably comes into play there for the alignment and reaction of Junior Coulson. But if that's not being sent, right, that's something to watch in general. But yeah, this is just probably Michigan scouting this, right? You see the eyes of Mike Sainer still there in the backfield. So you could chalk this up as just right defensive call at the right time, but this looks like something that Michigan is really well prepared for. And they had an answer for any of the options that Peyton Thorne had here.
I'm glad you called that out. That was something that stuck out to me throughout the game and it's pretty common with rivals, right? These guys knew each other really well, right? This was more than, aside from the bye week and the 2 weeks of game plan, you could tell there was a season's worth of game planning in here. Both sides really knew what the other team was thinking in a lot of different spots there. So
yeah, absolutely. And then going to the other side here, first offensive play for Michigan. I called this out last night. My favorite thing about this play is you learn a lot because you have Donovan Edwards at the top of the formation here. He's split out wide. You send him in motion, and you get to see the reaction not only to the motion, to this little bubble screen RPO, but you get to see their alignment, and specifically when they have someone like Donovan Edwards out, right? So by sending him on motion here, you get to see what their response is. Are they manning this up, and is he going to follow him across? Are they going to be dropping the safety up here? What's their reaction to this sort of adding the numbers over here, right? You have kind of this overhang linebacker here. Do they bring this guy down in response to a potential screen, anything like that? So you get just from this simple little motion, especially it being Donovan Edwards, you gain a lot of intel on what Michigan State is going to be doing the rest of the game when you have a playmaker like that out, right? So you're gaining a lot just from this. Michigan State will live with their cornerback now playing as the deep safety. They're dropping the alignment of their defensive back here a little bit, and they're bringing this up, right? So this right away is saying they are committing 4 bodies here on the right side of the play here to shut down any sort of bubble screen option here. And again, it's just about getting that intel right away, getting that reaction, getting that motion out of the defense, and now you can better game plan because you have that knowledge. So because of the sheer alignment of this guy, right, now it becomes a numbers game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a 6-man box. So you're blocked through to the safety, who's actually a cornerback, right? This guy shifted over. That's a cornerback now playing safety. And JJ McCarthy is reading this, notices the alignment, how wide this guy is in response to the potential little bubble screen here option, and that elicits a give here. So overall, it makes sense, right? You're gaining a lot of intel. Overall, it's blocked really well outside of your tight end. You'd like to see Schoonmaker here get his hat across. This is a heavier defensive end. You'd like him to work to the inside here. Schoonmaker gets a little bit pushed back towards the line of scrimmage. Number 5 there does make first contact. And if he doesn't, right, if number 5 is well blocked here, you have Hayes doing a really good job caving the right side of this down. Both linebackers are accounted for here, right? Number 4, if this is a clean hole, probably not an option or probably not going to get to Blake Corum here. And the only guy back is a cornerback playing safety, right? So you're looking at all these things considered, and this is a really well-designed play based off of the alignment of Michigan State and how they're committing bodies to this. And I think a key thing to call out is, I believe 54, is that Slade? I believe that's who this is. One of their standout defensive linemen that Michigan State got back.
64, right?
Oh, is it 64? I think that is 64.
Yeah, it's Slade though.
Yeah. So them being able to get movement, right? That is a double team that they're doing on him, but he's getting displaced 3 yards downfield, right? And that's their standout defensive tackle. So you're learning a lot about how successful Michigan's going to be based off of this one play. They're getting a lot of intel. They're paving some of the best defensive linemen here, and Michigan State probably thinks, right, with even numbers in the box, that they can handle the run game, and right away Michigan's picking up 7 yards. So that's a win if you're Michigan, right? You'll take those 7 yards all day, and it kind of spells a little bit of doom on the ground because Michigan is paving here, and it's a good play from the defensive end there, but even so, that's 7 yards on first down, and Michigan got that consistently all game.
Spot on again, man. This reminded me of the beginning of Penn State too, because Michigan State did a lot of similar things, which is they decided they were going to play high safeties to take out the deep shot and focus on the screen game because of what you just said. Penn State believed, and so did Michigan State. They thought they could stop Michigan's run game. And that was what they did, was they were willing to take out, a lot of people have questions about the passing game, but this is right out the bat. Michigan State says, no, we're going to take out your big play receiver. We think we can stop Corum. And if you're Michigan, you say, okay.
Right.
Sure.
Right. And the reaction might be, okay, fine. Then we'll just play this guy a little bit closer. Right. But then are you really trusting your defensive backs on this little swing pass? Right.
Absolutely.
Do you really like your guys in space against Donovan Edwards? So that's sort of the thing where it's like, oh, well, Michigan State's just wrong. Like other teams now will be able to react by putting this guy here. It's like, really, do you trust any guy really against Donovan Edwards in space? Like that's not really a good matchup either. So you have to really pick your poison. There's really not a whole lot of good options on paper unless you have elite athletes on the outside. And Michigan State defense, I think, is lacking a little bit of that. And there's a lot of plays here that Michigan kind of takes advantage of that. Moving on to later on in this drive, again, Michigan driving down the field here. Same sort of formation. This time they're sending Cornelius Johnson in motion across from the top of your screen. Or I'm sorry, that's Ronnie Bell. Yep. Ronnie Bell here, and they're executing just a simple screen of Cornelius Johnson. And this is how you lose to Michigan State, right? This is how you lose to an inferior team, giving the ball away when you're driving down the field. So it's simple little play design, right? And notice is the 2 high safety look. So unlike the last time where they had just a single safety rotating, they have 2 safeties deep. And that means your numbers are a little bit better on the outside here. You're sending Ronnie Bell across here to block. Little fake action here for the screen. Roman Wilson on this guy. And you're blocked against these 2 defensive backs. And really one of these safeties is the first guy that can come down and make a play. So you can kind of see this as first and down, almost as like a little run play, right? Especially with all of the action going on the outside here. That's just to get everyone reacting this way initially. So what I mean by a run play is you're not looking really for a home run here. You're looking to set up your offense better for second and short, second and medium, third and short, and get ahead of the sticks. So good blocks on the outside. Ronnie Bell actually put his head down a little bit here. This is rare that he kind of gets disengaged after the initial contact here, but good job from Roman Wilson staying engaged there. And even though Ronnie Bell does come off of that block, it's a good decision from Cornelius Johnson to hit that crease, right? He makes that decision. Time is of the essence when you catch the ball on a screen on the outside like this. All of the defense will be flowing from the top of your screen here, right? So the more you stall out here, the more you wait around, the less successful the play is going to be. So it's better to make just a quick decision, fight through a tackle, pick up 5 yards than nothing. So it's a good job for Cornelius Johnson, right? He breaks free a little bit, gets 5-6 yards, then he loses the ball here. Give a lot of credit to number 3 here. That's Xavier Henderson, captain for Michigan State, for stripping the ball. And this was brought up in the live stream yesterday. Common theme all game that Michigan learned, they're going to be stripping the ball. And they were trying it all game. And that was something that the Spartans were almost certainly coached about, that, hey, if we're going to have a chance in this game, you need to create turnovers. And, give them credit for forcing one, but this play got what Michigan wanted, just couldn't finish the play how the Wolverines wanted to.
Yep.
Okay.
Obviously, it's not West Coast offense, but sorry. But I'm going to delay now. You're 100% right, though. That's kind of replacing like a West Coast offense, the short run with the low pass, because that's something that can become a bigger play, or it gets you, like you said, in a comfortable second and short, keeps you on schedule. So
I just sneezed my hat off, Trevor. That's what happened there. I was like, I'm going to sneeze. And then I was like, oh, nope, I'm not going to sneeze. And then I sneezed my hat off. That's what happened there.
Without the sound, it was a little cartoonish. I couldn't tell what was going on. But oh, you're still on mute, bud.
Still on mute. The sneeze just threw me all the way off. Okay, let's move on to the next drive here. Obviously, Michigan State gets the ball. And a couple of additional really good plays on the defensive line here for Michigan. This one is called Mazi Smith is too good for your offensive line. And that's been the case all year. Again, I think I've said it previously where he just doesn't really show up on the stat sheet in his impact. But the only thing we really need to focus on this play is this double, okay? The purpose of this double is get movement on Mazi Smith and then release to the second level, right? Get the linebackers flowing to this. And Mazi Smith cuts across the face here, takes on 2 blocks, and then continues down the line of scrimmage and makes the tackle at the line of scrimmage, right? So not only is he holding up any ability for either one of these offensive linemen to get to Junior Colson at the second level here, but he's also working down the line, right? He's essentially taking 2 guys out, not allowing them to release that second level, and then he falls in the hole and makes contact right away. So, he single-handedly makes that play, right? The only other things to call out, Chris Jenkins could have done a little bit better job, loses his feet here, kind of falls to the ground. Oki does a good job establishing the outside, no real gap to the outside for the running back to go, so he's forced to go up the middle here. But this is just Mazi Smith being there. And then once Oki sees that, yep, he commits to the inside, he's going to duck back that way after keeping that outside integrity first. So Mazi Smith, man, you can, give all the awards you want to some of the pass rushers, but Mazi Smith making this sort of impact, it makes the job of the linebacker unit that much easier when he's holding up those offensive linemen. And then when you add in these plays where he's stopping them at the line of scrimmage, right? That's a half-yard gain, maybe. It consistently sets up your defensive line in better second and long, third and long, easier, more pass obvious downs to be successful. So having a guy like Mazi Smith just sets up your defense time and time again on every single defensive possession. So he's huge, man. And that's just an excellent play.
Yeah, there's a reason he's one of Bruce Feldman's freaks, right?
Yeah.
That's a crazy athletic play for a man that's 350 pounds.
Yeah, and he doesn't look like it. It's crazy.
No.
I have to remind myself that he is actually that much, but it makes sense because of how little movement any of these offensive linemen are able to get on him. They just hit a stone wall, and then the bend here of Mazi Smith, as soon as he makes contact initially, he's just able to roll those hips in right there, engage those hands, and then disengage at the perfect time. So he's an athlete, man. You could argue he's the MVP of the defense, and I wouldn't put up too much of a fight against you. Having that level of a difference maker is absolutely massive. Okay, fast forward here to the 4th and 1 play, and guess who again? This one is more of a combination effort here. But again, it's Mazi Smith doing Mazi Smith things. You got Chris Jenkins doing a lot of great things. And when it's 4th and half a yard, you need multiple players to make plays, and that's what happens here, right? You got Mazi Smith over the center here. He just gets his hat into this hole and disengages again at the perfect time here, right? See, boom, there's the hands. Just shift his body weight, right? Get his hat into that hole, outside arm free, boom, makes that contact, right? The second guy to look at would be Chris Jenkins. He does a really good job here engaging 58, getting his hands into the chest of 58 initially. Boom, get your hands on him, displace him, and then shoves him across. Really good hand technique there. Hand on the outside shoulder right here. He's going to disengage. Watch that right arm. Boom. Disengage with it, shove it across, and there's a little swim move there, right? There's no leverage for 58 anymore, and Chris Jenkins is sitting there in the hole. Makes really good contact at the same time. And then the two additional players who also do a great job is Rod Moore against an offensive lineman, right? Rod Moore coming down. This is a big mismatch, right? At the big body there. The best you can really do if you're Rod Moore is just make this difficult, right? Just don't get paved. Find a little bit of a crease and just get your hat in that crease. And that's what he does, right? He gets a little bit lower. He doesn't get displaced, kind of olays him a little bit with his footwork and just gets a little bit lower and just gets there, right? He's not really doing a whole lot here. This is mainly Mazi Smith and Chris Jenkins, but he's not letting the running back fall forward there. And then the only other crease that is really showing up is right here. This is the last crease, and that's where McCarthy Page comes in. So if we shift to another view here, McCarthy Page is going to come in and put his shoulder right there. So there's no more gap there, right? Between Rod Moore and McCarthy Page, they're just closing any sort of falling forward potential on this play, right? So it's Mazi Smith and Chris Jenkins with the initial contact, stopping the momentum, and then any sort of fall forward is halted by both Rod Moore and McCarthy Page. So total team effort, right? That's a huge play from everyone involved there. And it really took really all of them making those individual plays for this to be a true team stop. So really well done. Can't believe they initially spotted this as a first down, but hey, they got it right eventually. So really, really great play and big play early on in the game.
Yeah, that view, once when Collins gets about right there, that's a gap responsibility masterclass, man. I mean, look at that. Every single spot, even Barrett holding up, he knows what his job is.
Yep.
Same thing with Harrell on the outside. I mean, just awesome job by the Michigan D-line there.
Yeah. Everyone, like you said, everyone is doing their job. Everyone understands their responsibility. Even guys who didn't make a play here, they're keeping their eyes up. And what I like to see, especially here, keeping your eyes up, and then he's going to shift into this hole, right? He's getting his gap integrity. Everyone is working on their gap integrity here, and everyone's where they need to be. And then as soon as they're keeping their eyes up, keeping their eyes in the backfield, as soon as they see that, boom, you converge on it, right? It's really hard to do. Like 4th and half a yard, I don't care how good or bad your offense is, that's really hard to do, to stop on a run play like that. And it, multiple Michigan defenders did exactly what they had to be successful. Okay. Michigan takes over in enemy territory here, 32-yard line, 1st and 10. And look at the splits here just initially for Michigan. Look how wide these wide receivers are, right? And this play is all about just attacking the matchups that you like, okay? Windman is pretty decent athlete, straight line speed, okay? But what Michigan is doing here, they're sending a lot of guys deep. You're sending guys to clear out and look how wide they are, right? And what that does forces if you have two high safeties, they're also going to be wider alignment because of that to deal with it. So you have a single linebacker here with a lot of space that he is responsible for, right? And usually with like a 5-man box like this, right? You're looking at 5-on-5 and you're like, oh man, we should just run on this, right? Look how deep the safeties are. It's 1st and 10. Let's set it up. But this is just Michigan scouting really well and saying, hey, if we do a little play action here and send this guy here, look at all this room that this single guy, this 250 odd pound convert a defensive end into a linebacker, he has to defend this, right? And he doesn't know where in the heck this athletic running back is going to go. He's probably still learning the position, right? So as soon as you get right here, that guy is on an island, right? There is nobody else. You are on an island, and the number one read is attack the island. That's just a matchup nightmare, right? So Michigan State made this move, getting Widman in the linebacker position to get their best 11 on the field, right? Ben Van Sumeren wasn't playing so great for the Spartans, and they are making this adjustment to get Widman, one of their better players, on the field, as well as some additional defensive linemen that they like. So Michigan is taking that, right? This is, I think, a couple of weeks ago, they made this switch for Widman, and Michigan is attacking that, right? Again, right here, look at the eyes of McCarthy, and they're attacking just the lateral quickness of this linebacker. They think that, hey, we think that this route right here for a running back is going to be able to beat this converted defensive end, right? And they're pretty spot on. Really well-timed throw, and it looks easy, right? So, again, this is just a masterclass of knowing your opponent and getting them in uncomfortable situations based on their personnel. So it's really well done, and just really good execution. And when you plan appropriately, it makes things look easy. And that looks really, really easy. And Michigan kept going back to it appropriately so.
I love that angle because I think something JJ is really underrated at is finding those throwing lanes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it's a really well-timed throw. But if you look right when he lets go of it here, I mean, that's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, the defender's got his hand up. He gets just that little pause, little wide there. It's perfect. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they did with Widman because his first game back at linebacker was against Wisconsin. They've been using him as an edge player all year. And, you know, the Wisconsin to stop the run game, he was Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week when they played Wisconsin.
Right.
But Donovan Edwards might be the best receiving running back in the country. So, like you said, matchup one-on-one, open field. Thank you. Again, this is what Michigan's doing. I know people want to see other things from the offense. If the defense is giving you this, you're taking it.
Yeah, and I mentioned it last night where it's like they are responding pretty heavily to this route from Ronnie Bell here, right? You got the safety kind of bracketing this for Ronnie Bell. Did you have this on the outside, right? It's single coverage. Does he look like he's getting open if we move forward a little bit here? Maybe, probably, right? But what is this throw's chances down here towards the pylon versus this, right? This is probably a 95%.
This was first down, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is first down. And this is a 95% play that gets, close to the 10-yard line. This is maybe a 60% chance. You're on first down like this, you're taking this, I'd say even on any down, you're taking a 95% 20-yard play any day over a 60% touchdown. That's what I'm thinking.
We've seen Edwards score on a play like that.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
Aside from the obvious easy yardage, first down on first down, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
He can score from that. It's not a check down, right? Like that's a big play.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's a great call out with the eyes here. He probably notices right about now, 94 is getting there, right? Yeah. McCarthy at this point has already seen what he needs to here. He's going to keep his eyes here. He is throwing towards this window, as you said, but he's not going to look there until he kind of needs to. So him looking,
man, right there.
Yeah, him looking right here, like he knows where he's throwing. He only changes for this throwing angle. If he's looking a little bit earlier, maybe 94, that defensive lineman getting his hand up right there, maybe he diverts his path a little bit better to get in that path. But McCarthy is looking towards the center of the field there until the last moment to preserve that angle. So yeah, it's a great call out there.
Don't want to hang on it too much, but one of the good things that kind of came from McCarthy's shoulder rehab was some of the mechanics. His QB coach, Mr. House, is watching that little hip movement and just smiling because that's an NFL throw.
For sure. Okay, getting into some red zone here. Michigan not great in the red zone in this game. Couple things, I would say just didn't execute particularly well. But you live and learn. I think that's a different discussion altogether. On this play, I'll go quick on this one. This is just Keegan not making a block, right? I mentioned Slade earlier. Michigan did a good job. This time Slade makes a play. Okay, so You have both Ronnie Bell. He's releasing here to the second level, picking up this defensive back. You have Colson Loveland. He's looking to get to this defensive end here, right? So that's what your blocks are hoping for there. The issue here is that Keegan gets beat inside here from Slade. Slade gets through, impedes the path of Loveland, and your defensive end is then able to freely roam into the backfield, and Blake Corum is done for, right? So that's what a guy like Slade can do, right? He's a good player, and all it takes is one blockage like that in the backfield, right, to completely blow up that play. Otherwise, it's probably blocked pretty well, right? If you are able to crash him down, if Keegan's able to crash this down, you have the block here, you have what you want in numbers to the outside between Loveland and here, and you're working on the double to get to the linebacker, right? So everything else should be executed pretty decently here, but all it takes is one guy penetrating there and it kind of blows it up. So give credit where credit's due. It's a good play, right? So it is what it is on that one. Okay, moving quickly into this next play, second and goal, and this is where again Michigan kind of has what they want, just not able to execute, right? And I think this is also a case of Michigan needs to do a little bit better of a job on their understanding of what makes this play successful. Okay, because if you're looking purely on numbers in the box, right, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 right here. The issue is this safety is way too far up, right? And you are executing all of your blocks really well against this box. Everyone here is eliminated from these 6 blockers. The issue is this guy's able to react way too quickly, right? And any pass responsibilities, because of how close you are to the goal line, they aren't as difficult to take into consideration here. So because of that safety is able to play up way too aggressively and able to make the play on JJ McCarthy, right? So you technically have your numbers, right? The box here is completely blocked. This is just that safety who is not respecting the pass option here from any of these outside wide receivers, right? So he's able to fly up and make that play in the backfield. So to me, the main adjustment that Michigan needs to make that I don't think they tried in this game is they need to threaten the pass a little bit better from this look. So what I mean by that is off of this fake right here, on this sort of stalk block that you have from these wide receivers, you need to start threatening a little stalk and then a little slant from multiple guys here, right? And what that does, that forces the safety to then keep his eyes over here and not commit to this action right away, right? So I think that's likely what Michigan will do, right? You can do this same exact play, this little fake, and then just tell your guys, hey, don't go 3 yards past the line of scrimmage, right? Stay in because it's going to be a pass, and then tell these guys to do a little stalk here and do that, right? And that'll open up a lot more because then the safety is in conflict. He has to decide, am I going to stay back for the potential of a fake block pass here, or do I run up for the run, right? So I think that's the adjustment here. Is it in Michigan's playbook? I'm sure it probably is. And it might have just been a changeup that Michigan either didn't want to call or wasn't comfortable. Maybe they haven't repped it a whole bunch. But that's probably the learning lesson after this play based on how Michigan State was responding and lacking the respect for that sort of route off of that action.
No, it's a great call out because that's clearly not, a true RPO. And I'm sure there's a version of the play that is. So,
Yep. And I think it'd be really interesting to do a little fake here and not just pull the ball and throw it, but actually fake this run. Like
right.
you can do this little tuck and fake run action to get these guys to commit, right? And then run him out and then spot up and pass, right? There's enough time here to do that. And that's really the adjustment. Mark, we just to mention this, we talked about this at the start of this one. So I'll just say go back and watch the VOD. We talk about it a little bit at the start of this one, but we did talk about it. Just want to let you know that we did address that earlier. Okay, here we got 3rd and 8. A couple plays here. Don't want to talk too much about them. Talked about them last night as well. The Keon Coleman show, right? And Keon Coleman, football and basketball player. I mean, I think he's got a future at wide receiver for sure, continuing to make plays like this, right? He is 6'4". He is a tall back. And this was Michigan State's adjustment saying, you know what, we can't run the ball really well here. But you know what we can do? We can just throw up a 50-50 ball to our 6'4" leapy wide receiver, right? And Coleman is an athlete, right? That's a lot of air time, really good reach. And this is really good defense. I called it out where this is exactly what you teach your defensive backs to do, right? Arm is between the arm tier of the wide receiver. That's really good. And then he rips through, right? Rip through with that arm between the arms of the wide receiver. More often than not, I'd say probably close to 70% of the time, if not higher, that ball is coming out. So it's tremendous arm hand strength here for Coleman to pull this in. You know, he's balancing it against his face mask and then his shoulder here. It takes a lot of strength to do that. So give a lot of credit to Coleman for that. I think it's really well defended from Green, right? He's right there. Pretty physical play overall. Sometimes the guy just wins, right? And this is something where not really Michigan did adjust after this drive to this. But against guys like Ohio State, where they have Marvin Harrison Jr., right? You're going to see this a lot, right? So I think overall, even though Coleman had a couple plays like this, this is still a good sign, right? Like this is well defended. Sometimes a guy's going to make a play like that, and you have to live with it.
How did he catch that?
Yeah,
right.
It's pretty wild, right? So not a lot of receivers will catch this, right? And this is one, if you're Michigan, you'll live with because your defensive back is there, has pretty exceptional technique, and the guy just comes down with it, right? And this is, I think I've said it before, this is just kind of a tip your capper, where it's just like, okay, we were there. Like you were there, you did the great technique that we teach you. Sometimes the guy makes a play. So give kudos. I hope Keon Coleman goes and plays basketball because I bet he has a future at wide receiver for sure. Okay, let's move into the second one here. Tuck says after the game, Michigan can't defend our receivers. I don't know if he for sure said that.
That was the halftime reporter. Yeah, that's what she said. He said, and then, yeah.
Oh, really? But
yeah,
yeah,
it was coming back out of halftime. She's like, you know, I spoke with Coach Tucker, and he said these guys can't cover our receivers. Blah blah.
Gotcha.
And then it was 2 plays in a row where I think it was DJ Turner. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yep. So one thing right here, Michigan State is going up tempo, right? They did this a few select times, not often during the game, but it seemed like whenever they had a big play, they had a quick call to run something again. So I'm guessing Michigan State was like, hey, that worked. Let's try it again, right? And just go back to it before Michigan can have the adjustment. One thing I think Michigan could have done a little bit better here, as soon as you see the hips turn for the quarterback like this, I think McCarthy Page needs to get on his horse a little bit quicker, right? Like get out there. But I still think this is an exceptionally well thrown ball. Not a whole lot that McCarthy Page could have even really done on that, just based on the location of it. And this likely should have been called offensive pass interference. How often is it called in this scenario? Not often, but that is a clear push off, right? Right now it's 50-50 right there. And then, I mean, it's a clever little push off, right? How often is this actually called? Like I said, not often, but he did create some separation there. Even with that though, exceptional catch, right? Really good hands, able to come down with that, and the body control to stay on his feet is also pretty crazy. So again, defensive back is there. I think this is even a better thrown ball than the last one. Coleman again just goes up, makes a play, really strong hands. Probably should have been called there, but it wasn't. And again, another one you kind of have to live with. And Michigan made some adjustments immediately after this drive because it was clear that this was Michigan State's path to scoring, and their only path to scoring was continuing to look at number 0 here.
Dylan Girk's comment is, in my opinion, 100% correct. So Green doesn't make the turn, and then because he's not turned, his put, you know, if he was turned back, that push would have looked more dramatic as well. But yeah, they're not going to call that. It's just, is it? Yes, but I'm not shocked they didn't call it because of what Garrick said. He doesn't have his head turned back. The action of him going backwards isn't significant.
Right.
And then, yeah, Page getting there late and then running right by him, just kind of defeats the point of having you playing that center field safety. So,
yeah. And I think that's another thing where I think for Green, I can understand not looking back at this point, right? But McCarthy Page not being in complete one-on-one coverage right now, I think McCarthy Page should be doing a better job of finding that ball. So definitely think both guys could have done a little bit better job there.
That's still a really good grab.
Still a
too.
phenomenal grab. Yeah. Really good player.
I'm starting to hate him.
I
He's
know.
too good.
It's a bummer. I'm hoping he decides to do basketball. I hope he likes basketball exceptionally more, but isn't as good of a basketball player than he is a football player. Yeah, because
if they're still losing to GVSU, Izzo might be begging for him. We'll see.
There you go. Okay, here's the another episode of taking advantage of the matchup against the linebacker, right? So what I mean by that is you are looking all the way at this linebacker, right? And it's number 4 right here, right? You're just sending a simple drag route for your tight end. And what is that linebacker doing? It doesn't look like a whole lot, right? There's the concept of covering grass, and it's clear that that linebacker is not comfortable doing that, right? It looks like he is identifying Schoonmaker right here, right? His eyes are there, but not sure why he is drifting this way, because
I thought he looked like he was locking onto Edwards a little bit even.
No, because Cal Halliday, his eyes are looking at Edwards.
Yeah.
So maybe he was as well, and this could just be
I'm not saying he should have been, but it looked like he was.
It could also be something where maybe he's thinking of like a wheel, right? Where you have both Windman and Halliday here, Windman and Halliday worried about that or looking at that. Regardless, not good linebacker play, right? Not good, not what you want. And so it's something that Michigan, again, took advantage of and was able to pick up big yardage. And again, look at the wide receivers going down the field, right? Creating a lot of space for attacking number 4. So it's again, are these like big plays, right? It's like not like in the traditional sense, right? This is caught 4 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. But how efficient is it, right? How easy is this to execute? And what's the payoff, right? This is 2nd and 10. You're picking up 15 yards and really easy 15 yards, right? You're not getting contact until about 14 yards there. So it's one of those plays where, again, is it flashy? No, but it's well scouted. It's really replicable, and it's easy yards. You're taking what the defense is giving you, and you're continually attacking a matchup that really that Michigan State never responded to. They didn't have an answer for it, and Schoonmaker had himself a big day for it. So you'll take that all day. And if anyone's complaining about easy, 4-yard passes that turn into 20-yard gains, then you're barking up the wrong tree, in my opinion. But
on 2nd and 10 too.
Yeah, 2nd and 10.
That is a great play on 2nd and 10.
Yeah, really excellent. Okay, and then let's move forward to your little condensed formation. You got 2 tight ends in, 2 wide receivers. And this is just Blake Corum completely dusting most defenders for Michigan State. I traditionally try to stay away from message boards. Sometimes I can't help myself. The common theme that I was reading was like, I could run through any of those holes that the Michigan offensive line is opening up, right? And for some of those might be true. But in this case, it's kind of both, right? Offensive line does a really exceptional job here. Keegan releasing to the 2nd level, wrong color. Really good job from Ryan Hayes taking out defensive tackle. Honigford could have done a little bit better job here, but Corum finds this hole off the butt of Ryan Hayes there. Good hips, right? If you want to talk pointing the hips here, really good job pointing the defensive lineman that way, and Blake Corum goes right away. Thing I like about this, and I think traditionally we've seen Blake Corum do a little hop skip, right? Where he'll receive the handoff, kind of do a skip, be patient, and then take off. In this case, no one's pulling, right? It's true zone blocking up front here. And there's no blocks that he really needs to develop outside of maybe Ronnie Bell getting to the safety here. But because of that, and he probably sees this defensive end kind of winning this against Honigford here, there is no hesitation for Blake Corum. He receives the handoff and he takes off right away. So I really like that lack of hesitation, understanding the play call, and just being quick. And then the rest is just him just spinning off. And it's lucky that number 15 there is able to regain his feet and just trips up the ankle there of Blake Corum, because otherwise that could have been a huge gain. But again, just the short area burst, the quick moves, and the strength for Corum to stay up in that scenario. The balance is insane, and one of the best running backs in the nation, even with a great offensive line. So really well done all around.
Yeah, he had 15 missed tackles in this game, led the country in week 9. So get out of here with that lazy take.
Okay, moving on here. See, Swiss Premier Pro likes to make me wait a second before. It's like, you're having too much fun. Slow down. Here, a little flea flicker. So I really like this play call because it is right after that big gain from Blake Corum. So what do you do right after a big pickup from your running back? You kind of strike the fear into them a little bit, right? Have another handoff here. Try to get your safeties over committing, everyone over commit, and then send 2 guys out on routes, deep routes here to try to take advantage of that. The other reason I really like this play is Michigan State actually does a really good job defending this. They don't fully commit to that. They drop back. And kind of what you were saying before, Trevor, it's a really good job from JJ McCarthy finding an additional angle here, right? He doesn't force the big play. Last year, you probably could have very easily seen him force that, but he sees pretty quickly here that this isn't there, right? He sees that probably is holding against the defensive back against Roman Wilson here going deep, but they have 2 players, right? This is well covered, and JJ McCarthy does not force it, right? And it's a good recognition here from Ronnie Bell. I don't think this is a planned like deep whip route, really. I think this is probably a deeper cross route. But because of the motion here of JJ McCarthy kind of working this side, I think Ronnie Bell is improvising as well a little bit and getting to the sideline. So it's good recognition, calling out, say, hey, throw it to the sideline here. I got a lot of room. And JJ McCarthy kind of lays it up there for him, right? A lot of space to work with. Doesn't need to be a perfect in-stride throw. It's actually better to just hit him in space and let Ronnie Bell work out there. So it's a good job, right? Good job not forcing it. Good improvisation. Good job readjusting the pocket here, finding some open room, creating a better angle for that throw to Ronnie Bell, and delivering it in space, right? Still a huge pickup. Doesn't need to be the complete home run for it to be a really successful play.
Big reason why he leads in targets right there. He's really good at adjusting when JJ gets out of the pocket.
Yeah, for sure. Move on here. 1st and 10. Again, same drive here. Michigan continues to drive. You got both. You got kind of this bunch formation with 3 tight ends, Honigford, Schoonmaker, and Bredesen at the top of your screen. They're going to send Bredesen on a little wheel route here. This is a play where Michigan did have a what looked like a touchdown down the middle of the field. It's just the pressure got there. So main thing to look at is Henderson is taken by this wheel route. So this wheel route is going to be taken from a safety here. Schoonmaker, right? Big target all game for Michigan. He's going to take this safety across with him deep. What you're going to have is Andrel Anthony on a deep crossing route here, and he's going to be open in the end zone. So let's look at just Andrel Anthony here in his route and see how that forms open, right? Because of that single safety look now, because of sort of that motion and wheel route that Henderson is following, you have that single safety that is now threatened from Schoonmaker here. And then watch Andrel Anthony coming across the formation here, right? He is the only guy really going to this. This guy doesn't have enough depth. If this was not flushed out of the pocket, Andrel Anthony is going to be wide open, right? Andrel Anthony does adjust here now that he sees that JJ McCarthy is rolling to his right. So Andrel Anthony is going to adjust back. But that would have been blaringly wide open if JJ McCarthy didn't have to adjust there. And that's, a couple things because of the motion there that's forcing Henderson out, because of how big of a how good of a job that Schoonmaker has been doing all game. The safety has to respect any sort of deep seam here and continue to follow this. The linebackers have to respect this fake to Corum, right? So they can't really get depth. So it opens up a lot back here, opens up a lot between the motion, between these sorts of routes. And Michigan would have had Andrel Anthony. It is a good job from this defender here of getting upfield and forcing this, right? You're pulling Trevor Keegan here across formation to get him. He does get there, right? Keegan does pick that up and does protect McCarthy, right? McCarthy does a good job evading that, but it just throws the timing of this a little bit off. Regardless, right, with all of that, he still does a good job finding Schoonmaker and delivers a nice ball on the run to him, right? So again, even when things aren't necessarily 100%, Michigan's still executing. So you got to give him a lot of credit for doing that. Just maybe that home run, what wasn't initially found there. Could you make the argument that JJ McCarthy should have just stepped up here and not completely bailed out? Maybe, but also when you see some pressure, your initial instinct is to kind of duck out, right? Overall, another successful play, right? This is a really great ball on the run, really great ball location, and Schoonmaker continued to be a huge playmaker for the Wolverines.
Yeah, I don't fault JJ there only because that's literally where he's at his best. He's running out to the right there, so I get it.
Yeah.
And just unfortunately bad timing with the Keegan pull. Just didn't work out.
Right. Okay. And then moving on to the touchdown. This was one where there was some disagreement about whether this was a broken play or not. I think this is one of the few scenarios, again, where Blake Corum rarely probably made the wrong decision here. But it's also not a bad play from Michigan State here. What I mean by wrong decision is this play is designed to block, do a little touch pass here and get Blake Corum out in this sort of space. Right? And the main thing that kind of holds that up is a really good play from this defender, really pushing, really stretching this outside and taking Schoonmaker into the backfield. Okay. And that makes the decision here for Blake Corum a little bit more difficult, right? Blake Corum has to decide, hey, do I continue on this trajectory to the outside here, or do I cut this up? Right. And Michigan is leaving this completely unblocked because they're expecting Blake Corum to continue to the outside, right? And Michigan likes their chances on beating 94 to the outside here, right? You're looking to leave that guy unblocked because you would rather release your left tackle to the second level here. And you like this matchup of being able, Corum to beat a defensive tackle, defensive end like that to the sideline, right? And he would win that battle. But because of this play, this good play from this defender, Corum's forced to cut up. But, Blake Corum is Blake Corum, and he can break some tackles. And he breaks a tackle of 94 and slightly breaks tackle of Halliday there, the linebacker, to get in the end zone. Even if it wasn't exactly how you drew it up, that's what having an elite running back like that will do for you, right? Even when Michigan State makes a couple nice plays on defense, Blake Corum says, no, thank you, and can just find his way into the end zone regardless.
Yeah, no, you're right. Schoonmaker I think it's broken play because Schoonmaker gets pushed back, but
yeah,
man, we're having red zone issues and we're complaining about the touchdown that they got. Yeah. Come on, guys.
Exactly. Okay. Why? Okay, hold on. It's on 2-yard line. Why push tackle to the second level? The main reason is because the play is designed to get to the outside, right? So, like, if this is well blocked right here, right, and say this is blocked at the line of scrimmage instead of Schoonmaker being pushed back, right? Who is the most likely player to be able to make an impact on this outside here, right? If there's a free flowing linebacker here, you like his ability to make a play out here, or if it's an athletic linebacker, he has a much greater chance than this guy who has to work through these blocks down the line of scrimmage to that, right? So in terms of just caliber of or just type of player, right? This is a defensive lineman against a 4-4 type running back versus maybe a 4-6 linebacker if it's Ohio State or somebody, right? This ability, especially without having to work through these blocks like this defensive lineman would, you like his chances if he's unimpeded to find his way here rather than this defensive lineman who likely doesn't have the athleticism to do that. So I think that's the play design. Okay. 8:55 here. Are you good till 9:30 or are you cut off at 9? Trevor?
I'm good whenever.
Okay. All right, let's try to make it to 9:30 here, get through at least the first half, and see where we get. Okay, 3rd and 9 here. Obvious passing down here for Michigan State. And again, guess who? Keon Coleman, right? And this is one of the few plays, I think, all year where I think it was pretty not great play here from DJ Turner. I think this is also pretty clearly offensive pass interference, right? If we go back just to this view, we have a better view as well. But just this view alone right there, that push off that you can see from Keon Coleman, that displaces DJ Turner quite a bit, right? You don't see that level of separation from DJ Turner in a lot of hitches like that. It's pretty rare. So that size differential between Keon Coleman and DJ Turner kind of rearing its head there, plus the push off, right? The additional thing here, though, is DJ Turner's reaction is pretty flat-footed, right? He should be attacking this right now, right? You have additional help coming. He plays way too safe and gives way too much of an angle. He should be attacking down and instead just kind of shadows him. So he doesn't do a good job reacting here. I don't know why he's that slow reacting to it. Not a great play after the catch there. This is a better view of the actual angle. There is a push, right? And I said this last night. I don't think this is something that that Keon Coleman will get away with all year, right? Now that he's put this kind of on film, you're going to have this sort of reputation a little bit, I think, moving forward, because that's definitely a push. Like DJ Turner is usually not moving with that quickness away from the ball like that, right? He's definitely affecting the defensive back there. So again, should it be called? Probably. Is it called often? Not really. In college football, the NFL, you actually see it called more, I think. But I think players can develop a little bit of reputation. I think on a few plays here, you see Coleman get away with it. I'm not sure that he'll have the same success getting away with it moving forward. But he's a big guy, right? He's a big wide receiver, really physical. So these pushes where other wide receivers, I think, are also doing that, they don't have the same effect that a guy like Keon Coleman has just because of his size at 6'4". He's a big guy. So, I mean, give him credit, man. He's a good wide receiver. So
Turner had a little bit of a grab there too. So
he did.
Chalk it up.
Yeah, he did. So yeah, again, when you have both sides like that too, right? It's just a matchup, kind of a matchup nightmare. I think a lot of teams are going to struggle with that physicality moving forward as well.
Yeah, the big guys already have an advantage because they're big guys, but they also have another advantage because refs tend to let them make plays because they're big guys. So,
right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think we saw a little bit more of him in this game, but Will Johnson, I think we'll see him as we start getting into Ohio State territory with some of the bigger receivers.
Right. And again, this is the next play, right? So look at the play clock. It's a very quick snap. We're looking at the right pane here. We don't even really get a full view of the start of the play because Michigan State went back to tempo again, right? And this is just another case of finding Keon Coleman, right? It's the same guy over and over again. So almost every single big play here was Keon Coleman, right? We don't really get a good view of what happened down the field. All we know from the start of this play, right, is that Michigan wasn't really ready given how quick of a snap it was. They're clearly running a zone here. DJ Turner's in the flat. You have a deeper defensive back. That's McCarthy Page. It looks like deep cover 2. And all we really see on this, again, is just a kind of a broken play here and then just a good move from Keon Coleman here, right? He calls for the ball. He looks like he's going to go deep and then just a little bit of an overreaction there from McCarthy Page, right? Another physical play, right? And the play does cut off after this, so I don't have the rest of this play from this angle. The broadcast cut it off. But it's also a clever little push, right? That left hand of Keon Coleman there does shove McCarthy Page a little bit right there, right? So something to consider, right? And that's, again, these little things of a big wide receiver doing that will have an impact on your defensive backs. So McCarthy Page, could he have done a little bit better here? Yes, but it's also a broken play. It's a good little fake there from Keon Coleman. And then again, the physicality gets him some separation. So again, I'm going to call out that next week or whenever Keon Coleman is a major part of the offense for the Spartans, you're going to see a couple offensive pass interference calls because of this stuff that's now on film. But give him credit, right? It was a broken play. Peyton Thorne found an open guy and delivered a ball, and it's a well caught, another really strong hands going up and get it type of catch from Keon Coleman. So give the guy some credit. I sound like a broken record, don't I, Trevor?
Well, it is when you've got 4 plays from the man. What are you supposed to say?
That's it. All right.
This play's so bad.
Here's the 4th and 1. Finally, it's not a Keon Coleman. It's not a Keon Coleman play. This is just a really gross play design from Michigan State, and Michigan just absolutely obliterates it on many fronts. It looked pretty disjointed too. Like it probably could have been called like a little bit of false start. 79 starts to move before the snap. Just really kind of sloppy overall. 67 is like still not moving after 79 is fully out of his stance, right? So it's just really sloppy play from Michigan State here, and it's really long developing, right? So you have Chris Jenkins just firing really off the butt here, working down the line here. So that's taking this tight end Hunt, I believe, off the ball here because Chris Jenkins is just working down the line of scrimmage here. Really good reaction from Mike Barrett off the edge, right? I don't understand what Michigan State was trying to do against him. This guy's super late here, so Mike Barrett's just able to freely roam into the backfield. And then you have 2 more players for Michigan able to work inside here because this is completely left open, right? So my only thought process here, I mean, you have just 4 guys in the backfield here. It's just really not good. The only thought process I have is that Michigan State was hoping for some sort of reaction to this motion.
To the motion,
right? Yeah, but the timing is really weird. How is this guy really a threat? You're already sending one guy following him, and he's past the quarterback, right? So it's not like you snap the ball before, like if this guy's right here and you can fake a handoff to him, right? Maybe that's what they were going for to try to elicit that reaction of everybody. But once he's past here at the time of the snap, it doesn't make sense. Really does not make sense. So it's really interesting why Michigan State did this, but hey, this is one where you just kind of shrug your shoulders and say thank you for the ball, right?
Say thanks. Yep. Thorne said he had the authority to switch to a sneak there, and I don't think that would have mattered either. I mean, it's tough to say because maybe you don't have the early action from the left tackle like you've identified, but the delay, the counter, letting Barrett go free, you got Malik Carr on 2 guys on the outside. It just, none of it made sense.
Yeah. All right. Moving into the next play here, Michigan taking over, obviously, in their own territory after 4th down here. And kind of doing a similar sort of bunch formation here at the bottom of the screen. Let's see. A little handoff to Blake Corum and a really nice bounce from Blake Corum. And this, again, you are happy with a 9-yard gain. The difference between a 9-yard gain and a 15, 16-yard gain is Blake Corum, right? It's just Blake Corum doing Blake Corum things. A couple of weird angles that we have here. This one, I'm not sure if I really like it, but anyway, you get a double team here. Boom and boom, single block here on the left side. And that's really what helps create that crease because of this defensive end crashing inside here, right? He decides to go inside. That's what's going to create this sort of bounce, right? So you have this double. They're doing a good job trying to reach to the second level. Linebacker is kind of committed to the inside already here. So because this guy has to make a decision here, right? At this point, he has to decide, am I constricting to the inside or not, right? And because of how late that Blake Corum makes this bounce, you can almost kind of see the eyes for Blake Corum as well, also looking at this safety. Right? You can kind of see him eyeing down this safety and this safety committing, saying like, okay, where's he going to go? And only now does he bounce it to the outside. So that creates just a really favorable matchup, and it gives additional time for your block on the outside, right? By keeping that safety there, by kind of just stuttering, giving that extra time, it gives extra time for your wide receiver to get there. It also keeps this guy coming up, right? It's clear this is a run. This guy is just continually moving up and gives time for this block to develop. And it's almost a 2-for-1 as well, because you have this cornerback who also is following this in the case of a pass play, right? So really good job, really well timed, right? As soon as you see Blake Corum commit there, boom. What do you have? You have this defender who's out of luck, right? He's about to get blocked. This guy already committed to the inside, and Blake Corum's now one-on-one against a cornerback, right? And that's a winning matchup. So it's a good job evading the defensive end, who actually does admirably, 94 there, try to make that tackle. And then Blake Corum just dusts the cornerback as well, right? And now you're into the second level. So right now it's already a successful play, right? That's contact at 7 yards. You blocked all the way through to the linebacker level. You beat a defensive back, successful play. And again, the rest is just Blake Corum with the extra weight. You have Ryan Hayes continuing to push the pile as well. And that's what takes it from a successful play to a big play. So just really good job all around, really good effort, right? Michigan State, if you're going to continue to try to rip the ball out, that sacrifices some secure tackling, right? If you're going to try to continue to rip the ball out, that also creates opportunity to pick up those second effort yards, because you're not attacking the legs as much, and you need to attack the tree trunk legs of Blake Corum if you're trying to take him down. Not an easy feat. So give a lot of credit overall to Blake Corum here, but also, it was a well-blocked play. And then you have Ryan Hayes, Carson Barnhart coming to push Few for an extra couple yards as well. So just a lot of effort overall, time and time again for the offense.
Yeah, no, you're right. Mallory, the edge player for Michigan State on the outside, who knows if Corum has a free release on the corner there and does his little juke move, who knows how far he's getting, maybe to the house even. So
right.
That to get off of Hayes there and hold him up for a little bit was a huge play.
Right.
And then Shadyville, that might be one of my favorite comps yet. MJD, I never thought about that. He does kind of look like a little bowling ball.
Oh, that is a good call.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that.
Well, and I don't like saying Barry Sanders. It's a little
I know that's a very lofty comparison.
Yeah, so I like that one a little better.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, moving on here. 1st and 10 at your own 34-yard line. I had a brain fart, and also the footage is being slow for me today. I don't know what's going on. So a little play action here. And this is just a really nice job for JJ McCarthy for diving forward, because I hate the baseball slide. I really don't like it. And also just recognition, right? You have Michigan State showing pressure here. They're bringing it. And when they're bringing this pressure up, right, what does that mean? When they're bringing this guy up, it means you're going to have a one linebacker situation here, right? So you have ample numbers to pick up that blitz, and Michigan does, but it's good recognition off of the play action here for JJ McCarthy to say, hey, look at all of this open grass, right? So he understands, based off the route tree as well, that this is going to be man coverage, right? He knows that off of this guy's going to follow to the outside. This is taking this safety out of here, right? So understanding the route tree, understanding the coverage here for Michigan State, right? The only guy that is really out here is Cal Halliday, right? And he had responsibility on the play action here, and is still looking at the running back there, Donovan Edwards, in the backfield. So that's really the only guy that stands between JJ McCarthy and a first down here, right? So again, would something have come up down the field? Possibly, right? But this is just taking free yards, right? It's a really good adjustment to the blitz. Michigan gets everybody they need to, right? So it's a good job from your left tackle getting this blitzer. Good job picking this up. Everyone's accounted for, right? And you do have off the play action. Do have Donovan Edwards here as well to assist, and he does a good job assisting with Oluwatimi there. But again, this is just take the yards that are there, right? You want to continue to send blitzes and leave one guy on your second level, right? JJ McCarthy versus Cal Halliday. You're going to take that matchup 100 times out of 100. And Michigan dusts them for 20-ish yards here. And again, really like that dive, right? That dive is really safe. Usually you see guys in this position go for that baseball slide. You'll have that safety, even if he doesn't mean to.
Get hit also, anyway, man.
Yeah, will also dive. And you can really easily get a concussion like that. So this is a great job of you get an extra yard for it, right? You're diving on your terms. You're avoiding a hit. And honestly, this exactly what this safety does, not to linger on this point too much, but what he does here with kind of like leading with that, I mean, he's not trying to really hit him here too much, but how often do we see like a thigh like that or like the butt of a defender make contact with the head and then the head goes slamming against the turf, right? You see that time and time again, even if it's not intentional from the defender, just on that reaction. It's something that you see so often. So getting that extra yard, right? Because when you slide, right, if he decides to slide right here, that ball is also spotted right here, right? That ball is spotted right here. Instead, him diving, that ball is spotted at the 45. So you're also gaining an additional 3-4 yards by that action while also preserving your head. So really like that. Really like that. So I like this play. I like the ability to understand, hey, they're in man. You're sending pressure. That means there's one guy in the second level. Let's take those yards. Use those legs. And that is why having a guy like JJ McCarthy, even though I really liked Cade McNamara last year, this is what having legs can do for you. And it gives you 20 yards like that.
Yeah, and again, I hate doing this. It's a good play. I'm happy with how it went. The only thing that bummed me out was this was a good play for AJ Henning. So Xavier Henderson has a brutal defensive hold on Henning down the field that absolutely would have been called if McCarthy would have stayed in the pocket and thrown it. But man, you love that matchup for Henning. Obviously, the play didn't go that way. JD did absolutely what he was supposed to do, et cetera, et cetera. But for a guy that we've been talking about all season, where is he? Where is he? This would have been a big AJ Henning play if everything had gone a little bit different. So, but yeah, that hold on Henderson is ridiculous. They were doing it to Roman Wilson all game too. So,
yeah. Okay, now we have 4th and 3, and we're seeing same sort of thing, right? Where JJ McCarthy using those legs and being decisive with them, right? I don't think either of these plays were really decided for JJ McCarthy to run. I think it's been coached, right? And especially in a situation, dive forward, don't slide. But especially in a situation where you have that athleticism advantage, right? I think it's coached where, hey, when you're feeling that pressure, use those legs, right? Use those legs. And he's also kind of clever where he uses the ref. The ref is
nice
also
block by the ump there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The ref is also kind of assisting there. So it's actually pretty smart. It's honestly really smart of JJ McCarthy. He doesn't commit to this line. He's kind of running straight where Halliday is kind of forced to be here with the ref, and then he diverts. Right. So it's, hey, man, use what the field has to offer, whether it's a person or whatever it is. And he does a really good job here. So, again, we don't get to really see a whole lot down the field. Right. Could this have been a nice dump off here to Blake Corum backside? Maybe, but that's also where the pressure is coming from. Right. So little things like that where they're sending a corner blitz that could have been batted down if he tries to go to his outlet there. Pretty sloppy blitz overall. Only 3 rushers here for Michigan State. They're dropping a lot into coverage. But again, this is a case where look at the second level when JJ McCarthy is deciding to take off, right? Everyone is manned up for Michigan State, right? They have they're dropping what looks like into probably a deep cover 2 or something, because it looks like you have man coverage here. This guy is grabbing man coverage here. Because this guy's on the blitz, you're sending this safety over to cover man here, and then you're having deep half here, right? So that's what it looks like. So the only guy here that you have left is, again, Cal Halladay, and it seems like he's in a spy on JJ McCarthy, right? So that's what you get. And because of that, there's only one guy on the second level here, right? So because of them dropping those two deep safeties, there's not likely a whole lot down the field, even if he doesn't take off, right? The second level here is only as clear as it is because Michigan State is deciding, hey, we're going to be man coverage. We're also dropping two deep safeties, right? They are deciding, hey, we're not going to get beat over the top here. We are dropping two safeties on most of these plays. As a result of that, you're not leaving a whole lot on your second level here, right? You're not running zone here. You're manning up a lot of bodies here, and you are kind of leaving your linebackers out on their own. And that's a matchup that kind of earlier with Donovan Edwards against Windman, when you had Schoonmaker against Windman, and now you have a couple plays here where it's JJ McCarthy versus Cal Halladay, right? How often will you take that in a foot race when you have a guy who runs 4.5 type 40 against a relatively unathletic linebacker? Take that 99% of the time. I mean, again, is the check down here open to Blake Corum? Sure. But also look like that takes an extra level of execution, right? When do you want him to throw this ball to Blake Corum? Like right now, do you want that? What if it's also not a good throw, right? This is fourth down. Yeah, it's fourth down. What are your chances of your quarterback who doesn't have to execute a throw get to the first down marker on his feet and get there, right? Adding in an additional step of, hey, just throw it, over some offensive linemen and defensive linemen who could get their hands up, right? You're adding some extra variables there. So it's a couple things where, is that check down there? Sure. But I really like this decision because similar to before, where you could run into a 5-man box where Windman's the linebacker, right? Sure, you could do that. But also, what is Windman like in coverage? Not great. And you can have an even bigger chunk play with throwing to him. So in this case, again, you get a matchup you want. JJ McCarthy against Cal Halladay. It's a huge play. Could it have been a nice play to Blake Corum? Sure. But similarly explosive, I would argue.
That's just good situational football.
Yeah.
And for a QB that we were maybe concerned about him being able to do that, and let's be honest, the quarterback position, Shea Patterson comes to mind, had some issues with this situation. He sees the throwing lane get filled. He sees the open grass in front of him, first down, live for another play, man. I love it.
Right. And again, is this an open throw on the outside, right? Is there a window here? Probably, right? You have a safety over here who might be able to make a play here. So like, again, any argument of we're not having big plays, we're not doing any of that. Michigan State is dropping two deep safeties here. There is possibly a window there, and you could very well argue that. Situationally, this is 4th and 3, and I trust my really athletic quarterback to pick up that first down. He gets 15 yards. You live with that, man. Like, you are playing very efficient offense here, and you're now picking up a huge play. And it's very efficient and very replicable against this opponent. So I'm not complaining about that any day of the week. Okay, 1st and goal here. We're back to some red zone woes. Okay, so a lot of this of we need to convert these into field goals. I get it. Or I'm sorry, we need to convert these into touchdowns, not field goals. Like, that's not going to work against the Ohio States of the world. I get it, right? I think that's a fair criticism. And this is, again, back to my point earlier about having what you want, but it's not the right place for this, right? So this is another consideration of how many guys do you have in the box when you're in the red zone, right? And the main difference here is, again, the safeties, right? These safeties are way up. They're essentially, you're adding additional linebackers here, right? So even if you have what you want with this fake, right? You're reading right here. You're reading this defender. So you can block through to the linebacker level, right? You can get what you want and take out boom, 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 take out all of these bodies, right? This guy with the read here, you can take out everyone you want, but you don't have the bodies to take out this defender. That's a safety, right? Traditionally, he also has to take into account the passing game, not in this sort of alignment, right? You're on the 6-yard line. He is really going hard towards the run game, right? You don't have the numbers for this anymore. It's the appropriate read, right? The guy he's reading here on the edgemost defender here, he is reacting to this run, right? Your block out here is getting what you want.
Barnhart whiffs pretty bad there, though.
Yeah, he doesn't take a great path.
Yeah.
But I think, he's also, yeah. It's twofold though, because
I like the play by the edge too. He stays with the run until the very, and then he ends up getting to JJ here.
Yeah,
again,
Barnhart doesn't do a great job here, but it's something that I think Michigan just needs to do better threatening the pass, because it's something where it's something where no one is respecting any sort of pass here from Cornelius Johnson. No one is respecting it, right? Yeah. And it's that middle of the field.
The defense said something to JJ too. He got up laughing. So yeah. They knew what they were doing. Again, there was a multiple plays in this game where I was like, oh man, they knew exactly what to do. They read that play perfectly. They knew what was coming. And yeah, you're right. Not respecting the pass really backfires.
Right. So it's something where doing the quarterback run in these scenarios isn't as effective because of the aggressiveness these safeties can play with, right? You expect those safeties to have to hold back a little bit and not be this close already to the line of scrimmage to react that quickly. So I expect there to be some adjustments in the future to how Michigan runs these quarterback keep plays, especially in threatening the pass out of these formations as well. Okay, and now we're at 3rd and goal on the same possession. And I think again, I definitely agree with getting a little bit more creative towards the goal line. And this one was not one of those, right? This is throwing towards the end zone. You could argue this would be, maybe not the best throw, but I would argue it's a really well thrown ball. Decent defense, but this is one that you really need Schoonmaker to catch, right? He was on all day, really good player. And again, who are you attacking? You're attacking number 4 right here, right? You're attacking Windman. He's not very well versed in pass coverage. Really good job kind of boxing him out. This is just a box out from Schoonmaker, and he just straight up drops it, right? Really good throw. This is exactly where this ball needs to be. And Schoonmaker just drops it, right? Perfectly thrown. That's exactly where that needs to be. If you're Schoonmaker, I think the hand here for Windman right there, I think this is a great shot. The hand probably obstructs his view a little bit, right? So I think that's something that you take into consideration, right? You need to see the ball to catch the ball, and maybe that hand in his face there obstructs that view just enough for Schoonmaker not to come up with that. But it's a well thrown ball, so give credit to JJ McCarthy for delivering that, right? I think it's the right location for this ball. Let me see if Roman Wilson, he's running kind of an out concept now. So nothing else is really coming open, right? The only other argument you could have is maybe this little sit route here for Ronnie Bell right at the goal line. But this is covered from this defensive back. There might be a little bit of a window here, but the path for that throw is also through this linebacker, whereas the path to this throw was a little bit more open comparatively. So overall, not mad at the decision, right? It's just a matter of pulling that pass in, and even with Schoonmaker having as good of a day as he did, you'll have a couple drops here and there, and that one was one you could have done a little bit better job on.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember having a lot of these conversations last year. I keep telling myself that in terms of the red zone offense, and now the defense. When people are asking why our opposing defense is selling out so hard to stop the Michigan pass, and why are they respecting the passing game, this is what bend don't break is. They think once they get Michigan inside the 20, they can hold them to field goals. So Michigan's got to start showing something. They're coming up with something creativity-wise. Again, we saw it with Ohio State last year, right? So, but I was surprised. I don't remember if it was Blackledge or Sean who called out McCarthy here for a bad throw. I'm with you. I don't know where else he could have put it.
Yeah, it's a great ball. It's a great ball. And I do think the like the path for this throw from this angle might be a little bit cleaner over here. But honestly, this is the first read, right? This is the first read. They like the matchup against Windman in pass here. And he threw it to the right location, right, on that ball. So you can't be mad. That was open, and it was delivered in a location where you expect a tight end to be able to catch that ball, especially Schoonmaker, who has pretty good hands. So just a miss, right? And you live with that. Okay, here, let's get through these final couple plays for Michigan State heading into half, and then we'll wrap it up. Here we got 3rd and 3, 50 seconds left in the first half. This is just me wanting to include a Mike Sainristil clip. All right, shamelessly. This is hard to defend, right? This is just a drag route with, I think that's Trey Mosley, decent wide receiver. But any drag route from this position, right, for a nickel cornerback, for anybody, this is really tough, right? And it is very cathartic to see a cornerback, a defensive back for Michigan, cover this so well and defend this with such precision, right? Very good technique. And I'll say it time and time again, his ability to do this and to be this adept at the position is just phenomenal. It's just crazy. So it's such a crafty little play here. This is a good angle. I like looking at both angles because you see it from the perspective of the refs on both sides. So you'll always see on these sort of drag routes that hand come from behind, right? You'll always kind of see that. It's just a matter of timing, right? So he's getting his hand through, but that's really hard for anybody to see, right? You can't really see that hand. It's maybe there a half second early, but it's such good timing. And he gets that front arm through on the ball. So it's just such great timing for Sainristil. Really good technique there. He's just in the hip of Mosley this entire route.
Doesn't grab with his right hand either. That's a big mistake until the ball gets there.
Right.
And now his right hand's there, but a lot of corners grab early and get called for that.
Yeah. I mean, he is there, like he's putting his hand in there. The
other angle showed it better though. He wasn't pulling, and that's
sure.
Really
and right now you can still see those fingers aren't grabbing, right? Yep. So he's making a little contact, but he's not grabbing and turning that you usually see.
Exactly.
That's a great call out. As soon as you see those hips of that wide receiver kind of turn, that's when you see that flag getting called. So him making that contact, but not grabbing and turning until right now, right? That is almost never going to get called because he also has his other arm there. Right. He also has his other arm making contact with the ball right now as well. So being able to do that and to time this up that well, I mean, that's advanced stuff, right? And this is his first year playing defense. So, I mean, such an exceptional play for him. He's turning himself into a very draftable nickel corner. And it's great to be able to show this on crossing routes because not only will it discourage teams trying to attack that, but it makes me really happy because I have PTSD from watching Ohio State do this time and time again. So it's great to have a guy like that. If you want to argue Mike Smith in the middle being your one of your most or Mazi Smith, what am I saying? Mike Smith. Mazi Smith being your most valuable defensive player, I would argue Sainristil is towards the top of that list as well. Exceptional player.
Yeah, he's replaced the Dax Hill role so far this season very well in terms of the pass rush being a blitzer from the nickel, also coming in the blocks and impacting the run game. His coverage hasn't been unreal. I'm not going to pick on the dude. He's been a wide receiver for 4 years, right? So that play right there, though, that was a Dax Hill type play. And it's a big deal. Not only was he really, really good at corner already out the gate, he's shown a lot of development 8 games into the season. And yeah, you're right. He might be a 3rd-round pick right now. It's incredible.
For sure. Yeah. Okay, this is after the offside on the punt. Didn't include that play, but really frustrating with 3 timeouts late in the first half to jump off sides like that. Not sure why you would try to put on a block in that scenario with 3 timeouts with over half a minute left. Really frustrating, but Michigan shuts this down with a thunderous sack at the end of the half, right? So if there was any frustration, Michigan shuts that down here just with a straight up Olay there from Mike Morris off the edge. And then you get a nice little stunt here from Mazi Smith coming to finish the job here. So really well done. Looking at Mike Morris first, he's just going to flat out beat this left tackle, right? Just to the outside. That little step to the outside gets the tackle to commit, and then he shoves down the hands. You can see Mike Morris there. Shove the hands down. Don't let him engage, and then over the top. Right, he kind of does like a little leap here. Shoved the hands down, swim over, and now he's gone. Right, so that's Mike Morris able to get in right away, and then you have Mazi Smith. Okay, and Mazi Smith is on a little stunt with Taylor Upshaw. So Taylor Upshaw is working on just attacking this gap. Right, attack this lineman and this lineman, get right between them, right? Get right between them. And then that's going to open up Mazi Smith to loop around that, right? So boom, attack here, late developing stunt here. Mazi Smith initially make contact and then loop around, right? It's a really good job. It's almost like a block for Taylor Upshaw coming in here to make contact with that hip, right? You see the hips of that lineman now move, disengage with Mazi Smith, and this other lineman doesn't recognize that he's in trouble yet, right? Mazi Smith has his clear path. And because Mike Morris is also here winning this, there's no path for Peyton Thorne here, right? He's already too late recognizing the pressure is there. And then even if he would have, Mazi Smith is right there to clean that up. So good job, right? Really good job, second 14 here. Frustrating penalty, and the defense makes up for it. So really, really good first half, right? And it's 13-7. Obviously, a couple of field goals here. You would like at least one of those to be turned into a touchdown, but overall, pretty dominant half. And Michigan continued that in the second half. Hopefully, we'll have some time to continue that later this week.
Yeah, just another game where, I mean, again, I knew this was what the first half was going to be like. Felt a little frustrated during the game because you want them to come out and just punch them. But going back and watching it, this is just what Michigan's been doing. And coming into the second half, just knew Jesse Mintzer's defense was going to make adjustments. The offense was going to wear him down, and Michigan was going to win comfortably. So, yeah, but this Michigan defense, when you're in an obvious passing situation, that's when they're most deadly, man.
Absolutely.
Oh, God, that hit is ridiculous.
Yeah. All
so
right.
That is a truck coming at you, man.
Yeah, I don't want that. Like, I don't know about you. I would not be enthused if I saw that coming my way. I would not be a fan.
How much would you have to get paid to let Mazi Smith full speed just tee off on you like that?
No. No is the answer to that. I'll tell you that much.
What's rehab on broken ribs again?
Yeah,
right?
There you go.
All right. Awesome. So, yeah, that's the first half. We'll try and either do another episode like this for the second half, or Toski do just his kind of live chill format like he did the other night. So obviously coming up this week, we've got Rutgers. So we'll do the same thing next week as well, hit back with some big plays from that game. But otherwise, other than the obvious and what we've talked about, Toski, any other takeaways or I guess, I mean, the big question still coming out is the red zone, right?
Yep.
So where are you on that right now?
Red zone, I think there are improvements. I think there are things in the playbook probably to address that. I think Michigan felt in this game that they could beat Michigan State with field goals. I think they truly thought that, hey, the best way we can win here is by just scoring points, protecting the ball, and converting each of our possessions into points, and that they could beat Michigan State with that format, and trust that Michigan State would not have enough explosives and would not have consistent enough offense to do so. So I think it was a really conservative game plan. I think it was just protect the ball, hold on to the ball, score points on each possession, which Michigan almost did on every single possession outside of that fumble and I think one punt all game. So I think they executed their game plan. I think give credit. I think Michigan State does do a good job, especially in the red zone, kind of constricting a lot. Traditionally, they've done a good job on the goal line, especially with their defense. So give them credit there. But I think it was a mix of Michigan playing a little too conservatively. It is an area of improvement, but I don't feel like they felt like they needed to unload the playbook against State to get the victory.
Yeah, it just feels like another wave of, we saw it with early on the first drive of Iowa and a little bit at Penn State, the tendency breakers,
Yeah.
I think Michigan has those, and they know they're going to go to them when they need to. But I think they're also perfectly happy being conservative, taking what the other team gives them, and again, beating a rival by 22 points. Right. Regardless of what you want to think about Michigan State being down this year, blah blah blah, whatever. It's a big win. You got to be happy with it. So,
Yep.
All right. So, as always, guys, thank you for watching live. Thank you for contributing. If you're watching this on the playback again, make sure you're following us on Twitter at Michigan Rivals. We always tweet out when we're going live. Obviously, if you subscribe to this YouTube channel, you'll get the notifications as well when we go live, when Toski goes live by himself, when Josh and Brandon go live with Hail to the Podcast, and then we have our betting podcast, and not Josh, wow, Dennis's live show every day at 1. So make sure you're subscribed, and please join us at michigan.rivals.com. We are running a promo right now, 50% off for your entire first year. We're celebrating our first year anniversary. Toski's been here from the jump. I came in a little bit later, but yeah, we've bookended our site launch with the MSU loss last year, and then now the, I don't know, are we going to call it Tunnel Gate? Does it have a name yet? So yeah, again, make sure you're following us. Make sure you're subscribed. We'd love to have you guys. Thank you again, as always, for your contributions. And we'll either see you tomorrow, the next day, a little bit later this week, or for sure next week, Monday, when we're covering Michigan at Rutgers.
All right. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Have a good one.